Welcome, everybody. What's the buzz? Back to another beautiful Monday early afternoon. Welcome back to another episode of Buzz in the Box. I'm Mauro Bazzario. Good to be back here with you after the weekend. We've got a few recaps, some injury news, and some crazy performances, and a lot of fantasy relevance to get into. Let's hit it on this, like I said, gorgeous Monday morning. Let's go and have a catch today. Let's get into the leadoff spot here right now. The Tarik Skubal trade rumors are definitely heating up. They're not going away anytime soon. On the contrary, my friends, they are only starting to get louder and louder. They are like a swarm of mosquitoes that don't leave you alone. You know, you're taking a dip down by the lake. Can't be too surprised with that, honestly, though, especially with how bad the Tigers have been. It's kind of just only gonna be adding to it. We've heard the rumors since last year. It's only going to increase with him coming back from injury, getting closer and closer before too long, and the Tigers just no other way to put it, just plummeting from contention as we speak right now. It's still way too early in the season, obviously, to say that they're out of it, but it's been a really bad, I'd say a bad month for them. Minimum last 3 to 4 weeks for them up in the Motor City. They lost to the White Sox in Chicago yesterday. They ended up getting swept. That's been happening a lot. That's not a shock. Their only offense yesterday, Sunday afternoon, was a Spencer Torkelson RBI double. It is, however, good to see him doing a bit better. He was our buzzkill on an episode here last week. So we're always wanting them to snap right out of that slump, that cold streak when we get them on here. And we don't want to see them on there again. So that's good to hear from Spencer Torkelson. But yeah, those Tarik Skubal trade rumors are not going anywhere. And as they get further and further from being able to compete this year, especially in that, I guess, wide open American League Central, it's looking more interesting than the past few years. A couple of interesting teams there. We're going to get to one of them in a second. But, man, I know there's a couple of teams that if they get Skubal, it's going to be a murderer's row of pitchers for them. So if there's a team that's on the cusp that really needs them, that's going to be intriguing. We're going to have our finger on the pulse of that situation with what goes down to Tarik Skubal as he tries to come back to make his next few starts for the Tigers coming up here. The Tigers just got swept by the White Sox. On the flip side of things, actually, the White Sox are looking pretty good now all of a sudden. One of our next videos will be the one where we talk about not just the White Sox young nucleus of players. It's not like strictly about the White Sox, but a lot of guys that they have on the team that are interesting, not just now, but in the coming years, that are going to have, I think, long-term staying power and fantasy value, and more than a couple of guys in their AAA and AA teams that are going to be called up sooner than later, that I think are going to make this one of, if not the most interesting, talented young lineup we've seen in the majors in a little while. Kind of like the AL answer to the Marlins are the White Sox and Marlins, both kind of looking pretty interesting, as a matter of fact. So stay tuned for that coming up. We're definitely going to be including another team in that video that has a nice young nucleus of players with a little tidbits about their farm system and a lot of prospects to keep an eye on there. We know the White Sox have kind of already, just based on this year, already a far cry ahead of the years they had, like 4 years ago, 3 years ago, like just a historically bad run that they had. I think I don't know, next year maybe, but definitely within the next 3 years they have the potential to be one of the higher ceilings, especially of the pitching staff in the major leagues. You're definitely going to want to check that video out we have coming about the White Sox farm system, and another team or two that have a very promising young nucleus of players that, maybe not right now, you don't see it, they're still building it, but a bunch of names that are going to need to be on your fantasy radar for our dynasty leagues, because you can't stay in the know too much when it comes to that. I do think the White Sox pitching staff has the potential to have the highest ceiling of any young pitching staff we have seen come out in the few years. So you'll definitely want to see when we do a pretty good deep dive into the young players over there, both at the major and minor league level, who are carrying a lot of potential right now, and like I said, and in the future. And there's definitely going to be giving you some fantasy relevant stats and metrics to go along with these guys, of course, to support that and show you why their soon arrival actually matters, because we're big on that here at Buzz in the Box. Let's keep it going. It was the White Sox over the Tigers yesterday, 2-1. One of the good young guys up there now needs to make a little bit more contact, but doing good power-wise. Colson Montgomery hit his 15th home run of the year as they completed the sweep of Detroit. Watch out, the White Sox have now all of a sudden won 5 in a row. Detroit, they lose their 4th in a row, so they're kind of going in different directions. I don't think anybody had that called this time last year, definitely not before then. Detroit has now lost 21 of their last 25 games. That really hurts. We're gonna see especially like with some injuries and some younger guys that they got. We're gonna see how Detroit handles things from here, especially to tie up that Tariq Skubal trade rumor news. Big things happening over there. The Mariners walked off Arizona last night. Get this, from an infield single by Victor Robles. That now makes 6 wins in a row for the Mariners. They're trying to get back to how good they were last year, just coming off a World Series appearance. Still looking for their first, is Seattle, their first World Series championship in franchise history. I mean, they're getting a little bit closer. Just going to need a little more consistency, and just like everybody else, a little more health. Seattle with the walk-off infield single over the D-backs. That makes it 6 in a row for the Mariners. They're trying to get back to that form. It was a frustrating beginning stretch for them. We know Cal Raleigh struggled a little bit. We had that video, Raleigh, a couple of weeks ago, if you want to check that out to brush up on some prospect news and some older things that happen in the league, and some trends that are probably still holding up if you haven't yet. They were struggling with some pitching staff injuries, was Seattle. Colt Emerson brought a nice youth infusion a little bit there. It's working out so far. Dominic Canzone has been looking a little bit better. He hit a home run in that game. They got Brendan Donovan coming back soon. I'm a big fan of him. So you know that they're going to be looking to be getting a good amount of more contact there with Brendan Donovan eligible at second base. Is he third base? Brendan Donovan, definitely second base and outfield eligible for fantasy, and his contact is excellent, way above average. I'll take him anytime. The Mariners they're looking to win their 7th in a row tonight at home against the Mets. They actually host the Mets tonight. I'll be tuning into that one for sure. And speaking of those Mets, for a moment here, we'll get into a Mets moment. The Mets have suddenly won 4 in a row. They'll be looking to extend that winning streak a little bit while ending Seattle's 6-game winning streak tonight. It's going to be Emerson Hancock on the mound for Seattle. He's been good this year. Definitely, he's providing some depth in that rotation for Seattle, which was coming into the year definitely tops in the league when all healthy. And I'd say right now it still is. Although with Garrett Cole coming back the way that he has, you have to put the Yankees right up there in the as far as like the American League top rotations go. They are doing a fantastic job. That's going to be tonight. It's a 9:40 first pitch East Coast time for the Mets Mariners, as it's the M's versus the M's. For the Mets, they're going to use an opener out of the bullpen, Austin Warren. He's been very impressive with the 1.40 ERA in about 19 innings pitched and 22 strikeouts. It was a great day for the Mets at Citi Field yesterday as they really filleted the Marlins, slicing up that fish. It was 10-1. Speaking of that, 10-1 coming up. Boxed Out is coming up right here after this. This is kind of like an honorable mention boxed out game. Carson Benj got things started off for the Mets with the solo shot in the first inning. Marcus Semien hit a 2-run home run in the second, so they were off to the races in a beautiful day in Queens. And then they had a huge sixth inning, capped off by a Juan Soto grand slam, a Soto slam. That was the dagger as the Mets destroyed the Marlins 10-1 as they completed the sweep at home. Man, my Mets really needed that. They're going to try to make it 5 in a row against those red-hot Mariners. Yankees were hitting absolute lasers in Sutter Health Park as we get into more of our beginning news here. In the top of the... You're not going to believe this. The top of the third inning, man, that the Yankees had against the A's yesterday. You talk about more crazy news here from a really fun weekend. Yankees were hitting absolute lasers. Top of the third, the A's are up 3-0 at this point, and the Yankees proceed to score 13 runs. Not just that, they scored 10 runs before the first out was even recorded. We're going to get to the last time something like that happened, because it's definitely been, I was fair to say, I knew for a fact it was at least a decade. 10 of those runs before the first out was recorded. That is so rare. It was a really rough day on the mound for Jacob Lopez. He got charged with, I think, 7 of those earned runs. Reliever Michael Kelly wasn't any better as he allowed another 6 runs in less than an inning. Get this, the Yankees not only batted around in that inning, but they batted around twice. Twice. They didn't bat around, they batted around twice. 13 runs in 1 inning. 10 before the first out. What do you do as a coaching staff at that point? You have to just let one of those pitchers just wear it and get through the inning at that point. You can't be blowing through the bullpen right before another long week like that, especially after not having possibly the day off on Monday. It was just like the scene from Bugs Bunny, dun 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 dun, just conga line around the bases, whacking the ball. Those big guys just going absolutely nuts. I'm shaking everything over here because of how crazy that offense was. You can't get any closer to like I said, batting around twice. You cannot get any closer to pretty much hitting batting practice in a game than that. Everybody literally just taking their turn. Like I said, from that Bugs Bunny conga line going around the bases. It was pretty much like that at one point in the stadium. In that stadium especially, that's rough going. I think at one point 12 Yankees in a row it was reached base. A bit of a historic day. That was also, as the Yankees, that was the first team to do that, to score 10 runs in an inning before the first out since the Red Sox did it in 2009. So we're getting to way over a decade now. It was the first time in their storied history, the first time since 1949 that many of their players reached base consecutively in a game. The most since 1949 for that. So there was two things going on right there. First team to have 10 consecutive base runners without an out recorded since 2009, and then 12 consecutive Yankees to reach base for the first time since 1949. Historic day for the Yankees, and imagine the territory that takes in. That is absolutely unbelievable. You would think this, as I said before, you would think this would be the boxed out segment as it became 13-3, but the Yankees actually only won 13-8. So a lot of offense for both teams in that game. It was the Yankees over the Athletics 13-8 as they win the weekend series in Sacramento, which actually finally brings us to boxed out. Oh man, it was a hurter. It was a pretty bad one. It was a rough one. We got somebody got rocked, somebody got crushed, and it wasn't the Marlins and it wasn't the A's, although they lost pretty bad too. We had a few Sunday shellackings going on to cap off a beautiful weekend. It was a football score. This team won 19-6. You would think this was in the Dominican Summer League, but it's not. It's the end of May in the majors. It was the Giants. They've been struggling offensively. This was a huge coming out for their offense. Those bats finally waking up. The Giants just going absolute fee-fi-fo-fum in the Purple Mountains Majesty of Colorado. Jung-Hoo Lee, one of my favorite players, the grandson of Wind, was an absolute hurricane. He had 5 hits, 2 RBIs. Rafael Devers had 4 hits and an RBI. It was a great weekend for Bryce Elbridge. I think he had 6 hits on the weekend yesterday. He had 4 hits. This is all the same game, by the way, still, all these stats. 5 different Giants players had multiple hits, and this is wild. 10 different Giants players notched a hit. Not only just a hit, but an RBI. Even 11 different players getting an RBI. Even the bench was getting in on the action. That's when you know it was crazy. Talk about getting boxed out. It was a family affair. Willy Adames with a big highlight here. His grand slam by Willy Adames in the 5th. That was essentially the ceremonial dagger in the 5th that made it 11-5. And what was also a short start for Robbie Ray, but not a terrible one, as he looks to get a little better. Caleb Killian picked up the win on the ledger for the Giants. It was the Rockies 6 and the San Francisco Giants 19. Man, Willy Adames, Bryce Eldridge, Rafael Devers all going off. Giants winning 6-19. Sorry, Colorado Rockies, once again, you got boxed out. There you have it. Sorry, had to do it. Kind of like one of the other things we're going to get into in a second. That was boxed out. Sorry to the Colorado Rockies. Keep it moving. Keep it moving now. I got a little bit of some injuries for you now before we get into our next segment today. A little bit of bad news for the Cincinnati Reds, as some groundbreaking news. Actually, the Reds are placing for the first time ever their superstar shortstop Elly De La Cruz on the 10-day disabled list with a right hamstring strain. He left yesterday's game against the Braves in the 5th inning after a base hit. This is a bit of a shock. Actually, the first time in his excellent 4-year career that Elly De La Cruz is going on the injured list. So he's been a workhorse. He's been a stud. They'll be looking to get him back soon. They don't think he's going to miss any more than the necessary allotted time on the 10-day IL. After leaving in the 5th inning, 4 years in the league's first time going, hoping it's a short stint there for him and he can get back to mashing and running around in Cincinnati. He is hitting an impressive 280 on the year to support how good he's really been. I really hope he can maintain that. That's good. That's a great average for him. 12 home runs and 7 stolen bases. Again, very solid. Cincinnati did pick up the win Sunday against the Braves 6-4. Not many teams are beating the Braves that much. We're probably going to hear why coming up here in a second. The Pirates placing rookie and their former top prospect Connor Griffin on the 10-day IL with a minor flexor strain. He's not expected to miss more than 10 days, though, so he'll be back. He's off to a good start this year so far with a 270 average and a 729 OPS. Over the weekend, the A's placed starting pitcher Luis Severino on the first 15-day IL as the injury bug continues to bother him and nag his career. With the strained right shoulder, he did leave his start before that after just 1 inning. So they're going to be really looking to get Luis Severino some extra rest and get him all checked out. They're going to be looking to get him back to finish a good portion of the season, hopefully. We're about to get in our heat check here in a second, but if you haven't seen this yet, a clip of Jose Siri making a sweet, sweet grab over the left field fence in Tampa Bay, robbing a grand slam, if I'm not mistaken. If I hit a foul ball on that, let us know in the comments down below. Always love to hear from the coaching staff. But if you haven't checked that out, Jose Siri on the Angels, outfield defensive extraordinaire. It's a place in Tampa that he feels right at home. He spent so much time in that outfield tracking down balls, so it was no problem for him. It was second nature. Saved a grand slam. So if you haven't yet, check out Jose Siri's excellent grab over the left field fence in Tampa last night, and he played it off awesome. He is the man. It's time for, ready? You feel that? Heat check, heat check. Let's get into it now. It is a game of patterns. It's a game of results. And this is what we do around here. We have to find out who's hot and who's cold, and we do have to have one. And unfortunately, we all know one. Somebody, they walk in the room, and that's right, we're going to find out right now who is today's buzzkill. Man, it has to be somebody. Let's see who's bringing down the mood over the weekend. For this gentleman, excellent player. Good overall year so far for this second baseman. We actually have it, everyone would agree, at the very least, a top 10, if not more, fantasy second baseman. Actually, I'd say definitely top 5 fantasy second baseman right here. So this is a bit of a shock to see him in this segment. We do have to acknowledge the rough stretch that he's had, so unfortunately nobody's safe. It's not just what happens throughout the year, though. It's what happened recently, if we're doing a weekend recap especially. His team did win 2-0 yesterday, but find a masterful pitching performance. We'll get to that in a little bit. But unfortunately, he just has not been able to get things going in action at the dish. It's Bryce Terang of the Milwaukee Brewers, their stud second baseman, a .390 on base percentage, an .828 OPS, and 7 home runs. A great year, but that's not why he's here today. It was a very quiet weekend for him. That's not the only thing either. We're going to hit you with what matters in a second. Get this. He's gone hitless in his last 6 games. That's a cold streak for him. And since he burst onto the scene the middle of last year, a little before that, he proved to be a contact guy and be even a little bit more, I'd say, as advertised, has Bryce Terang of the Brewers. He has gone hitless in the last 6 games. So we don't want that to become like a week-long slump for him and for it to really become a cold streak. As we like to say, keep it positive, keep it professional. These are human beings at the end of the day trying to do one of the hardest things in the world. Now, fairly, he does have 6 walks in the last 8 games, but at the same time, the strikeouts are really starting to become a problem, especially in fantasy. That's definitely hurting you if you have him during the week. You don't want things like that to end up costing you a matchup. Or especially if it's like 7 to 8 points from just one person struggling, you lose a matchup by less than 20 points. Sometimes it's just 1 or 2 people in those instances that can be held accountable. We don't want to see that happen with Bryce here. Definitely struggling in points leagues for now with that. I don't think it's going to be a long-term issue, but definitely worth keeping an eye on for him. We mentioned a lot of walks, so that's kind of been balancing it out a little bit. It is nice to see the 9 stolen bases. We're mentioning that now a little bit because that ties into like he's a multi-tool guy and can help you in a lot of ways. When he's on, there's hard to find any second baseman like more, especially like stat-wise, more deep and more consistent with the last year or so that Bryce Terang has had. So we don't want this to turn into a giant cold streak and to see this like compound with striking out so much. That can pile up throughout a matchup, throughout a season. Like I said, he's a multi-tool player. I'd have him on my team in a heartbeat, but hitless in the last 6 games. I think he only has 1 home run since May 12th. That's something that we need to see him improve on, and we've seen him do a lot better. he does have excellent contact when he is hitting the ball. I know for sure the bat speed has to improve. That's definitely causing the whiff rate to be so high, and the lack of power. Definitely getting beat on a lot of those fastballs, not catching up. Very rough weekend for him and beyond a little bit from that. His last 19 at-bats, no hits, 10 strikeouts. We mentioned only about like one home run in a little over 2 weeks. That's tough. He's not essentially a power guy, but we know he can get you about between 20 and 25 if he's getting his contact. So that is a really rough stretch. Last 19 at-bats, no hits, 10 strikeouts. Great player. But because of that, Bryce Terang, you are our buzzkill. Sorry. Let's keep it rolling now and pick up the vibes now as we unleash and find out who went wild over the weekend. I know I might have a little bit too much, but today's Certified Dawg. Honestly, this one, kind of like the last one, it's a no-brainer. A certified prime specimen. Easily top 10, top 5 fantasy outfielder, right fielder when healthy. Going on and giving an absolute elite performance in Cincinnati. Sending balls out left and right into the river in Great American Small Park. Some of them would have been out pretty much anywhere. It's Ronald Acuna Jr. of the Atlanta Braves. Batting average climbing at 253 right now and steadily rising. A great OPS at 821, but that's not all. A very, very good, to say the least, walk to strikeout ratio. He's got a ton of walks. They're actually catching up to his strikeouts on pace, if you can believe that. He is going out of his mind. We're going to do a closer look at exactly how good he's doing. We mentioned hitting 253. That really, the under the hood, it's even better than that. Get this, he's crushing it right now. We mentioned the 821 OPS. Walk to strikeout ratio is excellent, and even dozen stolen bases already on the year. Hits in 5 of the last 6 games, but that's nothing. Get this. His last 4 games, 6 hits, 6 walks, 4 stolen bases. What else do you want from the guy? Get this. He's beyond crushing it. A home run in each of the last 4 games. He hit 2 of them on Saturday. The game on Saturday, he had 2 home runs, a walk, and 2 stolen bases. That's nuts. What else do you want from the guy? Talk about having a game like Willie Mays Hayes. That's a Willie Mays Hayes game right there. His bat speed is elite right now at 76 miles per hour. Oof, man, that thing is whipping around 76 mile per hour bat speed. That puts him at top 5% of the league. Also in xwOBA at 400 on the nose. 400 xwOBA is insane. He is locked in beyond belief. He's batting like 300, just hitting off breaking pitches. Right now, he's beyond locked in. He's not getting fooled on the off-speed stuff. This kind of like seals the deal. This kind of seals the deal for me right here. Ronald Acuna's last 5 games, 7 walks, 6 hits, 5 stolen bases, 5 runs scored. Surprised that's not more. And 9 RBI. 4 home runs in 4 games is insane. 4 home runs the last 4 games with the 5 stolen bases, 9 RBIs. You really can't have a more productive stretch than that. That's fantasy league winning performance right there. That's also the reason why, by a country mile, down in Hotlanta, Ronald Acuna of the Braves is our certified dog. Let's go. There you have it. Ronald Acuna, our certified dog. After the weekend that he had, that's unbelievable. Bryce Terang, our buzzkill. Ronald Acuna Jr., our certified dog, hitting things like Willie Mays Hayes out there in Atlanta. They only recently lost their first home series loss of the year, suffering that recently. So they're happy to have him back. Let's see how if they continue to run away with the division, do the Atlanta Braves. We know the Phillies are getting a little bit better. Let's see if the Phillies and Mets can continue to chase down those Braves by a country mile. Ronald Acuna Jr., our certified dog. All right, we're going to move on now past those segments here. Prepare for the next couple of things. One thing I do want to talk about is Jacob Misiorowski's excellent, the Miz, excellent pitching performance against the Astros as they win 2-0. Also, update for you guys, we have another prospects video coming out this week, analyzing guys who are running wild in the minor leagues right now. Very, very useful names you have to know that can impact your next dynasty drafts in the offseason. If you're like me, you prepare for those a couple of months at least ahead of time. It's never too early to prepare for things like that. Things change all the time. We're going to help you stay in the know. That's going to bring us to our last licks here today on this early Monday afternoon. Have to talk about the Miz, Jacob Misiorowski for the Brewers. His excellent performance on the mound, nothing short of stellar for the Brew Crew last night as he shut out the Astros. Brewers shut out Houston 2-0. Stellar by the Miz. 7 shutout innings, no walks, 8 Ks. The Astros only tagged him for 3 hits. That was nowhere near a problem for him. He improves to 6-2 on the year. Very impressive. Tatsuya Imai answered back with a quality start, but still took the loss for the Astros. The Brewers took the series as they won 2-0 over Houston. Abner Uribe pitched coming back from serving his 1-game suspension for doing his best impression of a member of DX. Don't want to do too much of that on here. If my wrestling fans will know what I'm talking about, his best DX impression. I think they were calling it the crotch chop gesture. Definitely wasn't ready for that. That was pretty crazy when that happens. Not something you see every day. Always worth tuning into a baseball game and heading to the ballpark. Almost guaranteed to see something you've never seen before. So Uribe was back. He helped pitch in that shutout against the Astros. He's back from his 1-game suspension. No afternoon games for today as everyone's getting ready to play tonight. We have all of our action coming up later. Some new series getting started to kick off the week. Thank you so much again for joining us on this Monday. If you made it this far, please, on your way back to the clubhouse, like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with anybody who you think might be interested in baseball or fantasy baseball, especially Dynasty Points Leagues. We tried to cover it all here. We're working hard for you. Just know that, and we appreciate any and all love and support. It means more than you know. Please also, any player or team we didn't mention, like always, let us know in the comments. We'll try to get to it next time in one of our next couple of videos and definitely give you a shout out. We have nothing to hide and everything to gain with you on our side. The link to our TikTok also, which is popping off, is on our page here. Let us know if you have any suggestions on who should be the next buzzkill or the next certified dog. We always love hearing about that. That is becoming everybody's favorite. Or even if there's any prospects we should know about and talk about for your dynasty leagues. We did put something out on our shorts here on YouTube and our TikTok recently about MLB news and a possible salary cap introduction. I might be one of the people, and some other people think that a salary cap floor might be even more interesting. So please take a second and check those out on our YouTube shorts and on our TikTok. Let us know what else is going on and what we should be talking about. Any baseball book, movie, or pop culture reference you want to drop it off on the comment of any of our latest videos, and we'll definitely talk about it. But we're very curious. Let us know what you think about a possible salary cap introduction to Major League Baseball. Let us know down in the comments below. We're always dying to hear from the universe. That's going to do it for today's episode. Put it in the books. It was an excellent weekend. I hope you have a great week. It should be a great one. Thanks again from us here at Buzz in the Box. I'm Mauro Bazzario. Goodbye for now. We'll catch you next time.